Hey, how's it going everyone? It's Aleks Ozols here. How are you doing? Today's video, I want to cover the topic of, can you really make music just for yourself, right? This is a topic I've been thinking about for quite a while, and it stems really from a post I put on Reddit a few months ago. This post was basically something along the lines of, at the time I was feeling quite a potent feeling, and the environment around me, the digital environment, perhaps even the physical environment, was kind of putting me in this sense of, I don't know, it was this kind of sense of tension, I guess you could say. And I put the post saying, you know what, I think we're in the time now, I think we're at that kind of like the final stage now, for like composers and producers. I think we're in this time where we need to just make music for ourselves, for no one else, purely for ourselves, not even to show on the internet and whatnot. And I guess this was a kind of a reaction to the fact that the internet just seems madly saturated with other artists, AI now, and just the fact that, you know, software, music production equipment is so much cheaper, and it's just so easy just to put it online. So there just seems to be a massive oversaturation, and my conclusion was that maybe one needs to just kind of pull back and just make music for yourself. Some, thousands of people checked the thread, and it got hundreds of comments, and everyone pretty much agreed except this one guy. It kind of annoyed me a little bit, and I know because secretly he was kind of right in some sense. There are some other things I don't think he was right on at all, but he was kind of right. He kind of said to me like, "Oh, it's such a shame that you have such a passion for this music, but you have no culture." Or, and I was like, "What, mate?" And he basically just implied that I must come from a place which has no culture, because in kind of traditional cultures, people will just kind of get together and they'll jam and they'll hang out, and it's just a normal thing. Whereas, I guess he was implying in the kind of the Western society, music's more about kind of earning money, or contributing to the consumer society and the capitalist society and all this kind of stuff, including kind of like making music for games and animations. And it's like, come on, how are you going to tell me games and animations aren't a part of culture? How are you going to tell me all the people contributing to these kind of arts are not passionate about what they do? All the people kind of involved in on the multi levels of it. It's to me, that's just you can't really say there's no culture in that. But anyway, so there's a couple other things as well I took him to task on, but all that aside, it did kind of make me think that in a way music is a community thing. It's something for people. It's for people to meet people and to be with people. And I think, coming from the kind of composer, music producer standpoint, it's all too easy just to kind of lock yourself away in a studio and create this kind of product for consumption, but you don't tend to interface a lot with the kind of the audience and your quote unquote fans. A lot of the time, unless you're like a DJ, but it's all too common for us just to kind of just be stuck away in our little studios, and to the point where you might not get a lot of real-time feedback, and it can seem quite lonely. But it kind of made me think, this whole idea. But yeah, and that's kind of onto my next point. A lot of people kind of in this thread, and also just in Reddit in general, come to this kind of final conclusion that you should just make music for yourself, just for yourself. And yes, I agree to an extent. I think one should obviously make the music they only want to hear, especially if you become disillusioned with the kind of like the market and trying to kind of like commercialize yourself, or make money from your art. One should kind of go back and really discover who they are, through the art of music and sound, and do exactly what they'd want if no one would ever hear it again. But I think when people do this, it's a kind of a gestation period. It is a time of getting to know oneself, and really just kind of delve into the depths of your soul and really just kind of explore that. But music is there, I think, to be shared. It's musical artists. I believe we are the kind of flag bearers of culture, of innovative culture, of creating a dialogue, of creating new cultural forms. We're there really to do this, and I think that is kind of the purpose of music as a type of vessel. It's a type of vessel to kind of break through the old forms and create new forms and to bring people together. And that kind of made me think sometimes, is it even really about the music? I know it's kind of like producers and artists and composers. Um, we obviously love music and we're just like proper nerds for it. But everyone beyond that, I mean, they don't tend to really kind of focus in specifically about the music. It's usually kind of things around the music. It's usually sometimes everything but the music. It's more about the community spirit, and kind of the people they meet while getting into the music. Do you know what I mean? Um, yeah, so that kind of made me think in a way. Can you really truly just make music for yourself? And should you like should that be the end goal? I think if you're kind of I think there are some instances where maybe perhaps you're like a piano player or someone who maybe after a hard day's work just wants to bang out some Chopin or something just to kind of relax, with a glass of wine. I kind of get that, but I think music is it is a vessel really for unifying people, and I think as musical artists, really, we kind of live in symbiosis with those who don't do music, and it's a kind of there is that symbiotic connection. Obviously, they get the beauty and the creativity of music to enrich their lives, and we get them to kind of give us that kind of energy to keep going through kind of attention and participation. So I think absolutely, if you're doing your kind of art, really the end goal should be to kind of get it out there for people to hear. So usually, yeah, when I see people saying, just do it for yourself, I don't even post it online. I mean, if you really do truly get satisfaction from that, that's amazing. But I don't know, I just don't really buy it 100%. I think really deep down, every artist wants to have their music heard, because it's beyond them. It's not. It's something which is beyond them. It's almost like the music's working through you. You hear that a lot. How sometimes the music's not even coming from the person. It's the person's kind of channeling it. So that's what I mean. The music is beyond the person, and it's kind of there to unify people and create a dialogue and just help perpetuate culture, and innovate culture. So in terms of, and again, I'm just freestyling right off the top of the dome, I think when it comes to AI and stuff, it's a tough one. But I just can't see people just stopping making music because of AI. I think what might possibly happen is you might kind of get these subcultures where you have people like the kind of the prompt, the kind of the prompt generators who are kind of just making stuff in Suno, who kind of they get together and they all like to comment on each other's work, or they like to pretend and think, oh look what I've kind of they get a bit deluded thinking this is what they've made and whatnot, and there may be kind of subcultures there where they kind of get together, but in the end it's like the music you see is still there. It's that unifying force, regardless if it's made by AI or by a person. The music has that kind of power to bring people together and create a conversation. So I think obviously the existential dread is would there be any more money to make from it and whatnot? And I mean, let's be honest, it's always been kind of hard to make money from music. So in that sense, people probably shouldn't worry too much. I mean, I don't know, but I think there'll definitely be a kind of a return to the live scene. I think people will be kind of maybe getting out of their houses a bit more, getting out from behind a laptop a lot more, and be getting kind of into the parties and whatnot, and maybe the kind of the clubs, or if there are clubs left, I think people be getting back together again, and maybe kind of pushing back on the kind of the technological overreach. I think this is kind of maybe what the future holds, but yeah. So yeah, can you really just make music just for yourself? I think yes and no. I think yes, do it for a time to really just establish and just know who you are. Build that bubble and just really understand who you are and really know what you love, and then just let it out. Let it free, let that bird fly. And then once that bird flies, you know, maybe other birds will fly after you. So yeah, those are my thoughts on can you just make music just for yourself. Let me know what you think in the comments. Obviously, if you have anything to add, that would be amazing. There's probably a couple of things I've forgotten about, which I'll probably remember once I'm editing, but I hope not, but it's usually how it is. And obviously, you know, I make music, so if you're in particular a game developer, or you make animations, or you make films, check out my website, www.aleksozols.com. Links in the description. And if you're in and around London and you need video production, or even if you're somewhere randomly in the world and you need video editing, check out my website, www.tandastudio.co.uk. And again, the link is in the description. And I would love to hear from you either way. So yeah, Aleks Ozols signing out, and I will see you in the next video. See you later.